goodness. Alright, so boat started, hallelujah, or the motor started, and I am leaving now. Alright, so we made it home safe, bearings held out, new wheels fit great. I had my friend Jared come along and help us. So it's a couple days now that have gone by, and I concentrated on doing the motor.
I said, hold on. I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. Cause then I start to taste them. I say.
So I needed to get a rough idea of what this boat was going to cost me to restore. So I started to think of all the parts that I'd need. I'll start with the motor and looked at different service kits, watched a bunch of YouTube videos to see what people were changing on it, and then found the service kits on PartsVu and a few other odds and ends on Amazon. I tried to go OEM as much as possible, but then also just referred to YouTube videos for people's recommendations for like fuel pumps, like the fuel pump I bought, but for 99 bucks, and it has a lifetime guarantee on it. So if it dies, I just send it back, they send me a new one and I change it out. And then new trim motor, did a lot of virtual diagnostics. Yeah, I like to call that virtual diagnostics when I'm just busy watching various videos on YouTube, see what the problem could be, and then buy something on Amazon, knowing that if it's not that part, after I take the motor apart or take the trim unit out, I can just return it really easily. That's the beauty about working with Amazon. And then, you know, what am I going to need for the trailer? The wheels, wheel nuts, hubs. I need to replace the hubs. I didn't know any of this when I was going to go pick up the boat. But I wanted to get a rough order of magnitude, just on what the total spend was going to be. So then when I started buying everything, I started putting in the actual cost, and you can see over here I've got $1,600 for the whole motor, and I'd call the mechanic to find out how much it would cost to get the motor running, because when I went to go and look at the boat, the motor would turn over, but I couldn't get it to start. So did a bit of diagnostics with the mechanic, and he said, look, minimum $1,600, and that was before I realized that the trim and tilt needed to be replaced as well. So I started looking at the difference here, at the delta of the actual spend, and you can see where I made money. You see where I didn't plan correctly, like with the fuel lines. I thought I could get away with the cheap fuel line from Amazon, but then after doing some research, I realized I needed to go with something that was not going to disintegrate, and spend a bit of money on that. And then the trailer wheels, getting the right class of wheel, going with radial wheels and tires, or rather radial tires. Things like the wheel hubs. My friend Jared and I, we repacked those bearings, and they looked pretty good. So new grease, and saved a bunch of money there. Just had to buy some caps to put on the end of them, and then lights for the trailer, some random goodies like tow hitch, which I never had, grease, starting fluid, gear lube, etc. And then a boat cover. So I managed to find a boat cover that I think would be good for about 6 months. And then once the pontoon's fully done, I'll probably get a custom cover made for it, which will probably cost a number of $100. And then things I didn't know I needed, like a trailer lock for the trailer tongue and for the tow hitch. So there's some big ticket items that I'm just not ready to purchase yet, like the deck and flooring, the pontoon furniture. I've been doing a lot of research, pontoon stuff. There's Y's, there's the tailor-made stuff. There's people that do custom furniture too. Trying to figure out what's going to be the best option for us there. I mean, I really like the Pontoon stuff's range of furniture. They have some phenomenal furniture, so we'll have to see what we do there. Right now I'm looking at an actual spend with the boat of 2,700 ish, and without the boat is 1,300, and it's a savings of $1,500 so far. So all things considered, I'm in the green.
So I concentrated on doing the motor, making sure that it will run properly. When I bought the boat, it would turn over just fine. Bought a new battery, put it in, turned over great. Trim and tilt didn't work, so man, thank goodness for YouTube that you can just search these things, and there's really smart people out there that can show you how to do these things and how to fix stuff. So what a new trim and tilt motor, gonna pop that on today. Bought a new fuel pump for the VST, so I'm pretty sure that's the answer. Serviced the lower units, new impeller, water pump, greased everything up, new lower unit oil. I changed the spark plugs, I changed fuel filter, changed the water separator. The boats had been sitting for a really long time, like I think since 2009, so that's 12 years. Hindsight, I probably shouldn't have turned it over when I was there. I did try to start it, spent about 2 hours trying to start it. I did try to use fresh fuel, but when I turned it over the first time I didn't use fresh fuel, so I hope that I didn't mess up the fuel system too much, but we'll see. So yeah, gonna try and get this thing running today. Pull the VST apart and put in a new fuel pump with all the filters and all that stuff, and see if I can get her a new crank. I redid the fuel lines, so man, it's really hard to find fuel lines that are BP 15 or whatever, approved, besides spending a ton of money on Yamaha OEM stuff. So we'll see. We'll see if they turn out, or if I have to redo them in a year's time. Main goal today is getting this engine started. I'll show you what we're working with when we get there. Alright, so we just got here. There's the boat, you can see. So I got it covered up just to make sure that the leaves don't absolutely decimate it any more than it was. You saw the pictures, it was just covered in leaves. So I had to use a winch here to hoist up the motor. They're not strong enough. There she is, going to replace the trim and tilt now. So first thing I did is trace the wire from the trim and tilt motor up to the relay, and I actually connected that to the battery just to test if the motor was functioning or not, and it wasn't. So that gave me good indication that I need to change it out. So this is the new trim motor that I bought from Amazon, and it's just a universal trim and tilt motor made for the YAMAHA Outboard that I have. Came with a little adapter kit and couples of ties, and by the looks of things, it looks very similar to the one that's on the motor at the moment, just different color. So all the terminals look the same. Alright, so I've got the trim motor, but if you look at this end over here, it's got this like keyed edge, and then this is what it came with. It was like, those two look really different. So I fished around and found this little guy inside there. I don't know about you, but this trim fluid really doesn't smell good. It smells like an old cow farm. That's all I can think of. So this guy actually goes on here, like so. Go on there. There we go. And then that goes inside. So now, oh, that looks similar-ish, I guess. So I'm gonna pop this on, line it all up, and feed the wiring through. Alright, so I got that in all nice and lined up. Just gotta pop the screws in and clean her off, pump in some new fluid, and connect these guys up, these little guys, and then we should be good. Alright, so I gotta get to that little screw all the way at the back there, little hex head. And this guy just keeps hitting up against here, so I managed to get it in there, a little bit of paper towel on the end. So now I've got some African engineering here, and a little paper towel, little Allen wrench head that doesn't really fit too well. See if I can get it in there. There we go. Man, isn't that amazing? There we go. Now I just turn this patiently, and then I got it. Once I've done with that one, I've got to get to the one at the back there, which, I mean, it's just not biblical how far back that is. Anyway, we'll try. Alrighty, so after singing a couple of praise and worship songs, managed to get this guy seated. It was really good. Thank you Yamaha, for putting the bolts so far back, and great. That's awesome. Cool. So, oh, there it is. You can see it in there. Oh, what a blessing. That's a piece of paper towel. And there's the hex nut. Cool. I'll be back. Alright, so I got these all connected over here. Green at the bottom, blue at the top, threaded through. Moment of truth. So next thing I have to do is remove this manifold, take off the fuel rail, memorize where all the cables and pipes go, and get to the VST. Let's do that now. Yeah. Okay, so I got the manifold off here and disconnected a couple tubes, took a bunch of photos, and that's what I gotta get to. So I'm just gonna loosen these bolts, see if I can pull everything out right here. Drained it already, so should be good. Let's see how we go. I managed to put the fuel pump into the VST. I had to splice the cables together, and I didn't really manage to take photos during that time, but everything's back in place. I really had my hands full, and next thing I have to do is try and start her up.
Oh yeah, from my hose pipe. Those, seems to be the very good. Brilliant, bud.
Yeah, it's working. How cool is that?
Sounds lovely.
Yeah. Just finished at the boat. The outboard motor is running. Hallelujah. So I did a couple things. Did the trim and tilt motor. Got to add a little bit more fluid to that. Got the fluid. I just forgot the little pump at home. So, there's always one thing that you forget. Anyway, Next I did the thermostat. That was really quick and easy. Then I did the VST, which was not quick and easy. It was quite a comprehensive teardown. And man, it was filthy inside. The old fuel pump was rusty, and I mean it had just been sitting for 12 years, so you can imagine just how corroded everything was. So I cleaned that out really, really well. Managed to do that on the motor. It's all pretty easy. Had to splice in the new fuel pump, which was less than ideal for me, but got that done, all nice and neatly tucked up. Everything fit well. Fuel pump comes with a lifetime guarantee. They just replace it, which is pretty cool. And now that I know how to do the VST, if it dies again, just put in a new one. Easy as that. And motor started up. I mean, literally first crank. It was great. After I primed all the fuel lines, fresh gas in it, got the good gas, the expensive stuff. It's like over $3 at the moment for gas, which is quite a lot. So yeah, running nicely. Checked if it would go into gear. Went into gear really well. Revved up a little bit, nothing too crazy. So yeah, really satisfying to see that come together, especially because I've never done one before. And thank you to YouTube for showing me how. And there's another channel called Born Again Boating, I think. They do a lot of repair stuff. The guy's phenomenal. Seems like a pretty chill dude. So followed a lot of his instructions. Certainly didn't make anything up. Anyway, so I'll I was covered in bugs. There's so many bugs where I work. I will start with the deck next. Get all the railing pulled off, get all the chairs pulled off, pull up the deck, pull off the skin underneath, the aluminium skin underneath the pontoon, and start putting on some new marine ply. I still need to decide what flooring I'm going to use and what seats I'm going to buy. Basically taking everything off besides the console, or replacing everything besides the console. Console's in great shape. So I don't know who I'm going to get the seats from. I think there's a couple of guys out there that make them. We'll have to see. Cheers for now.